Are you struggling to beat the Smart Cleaner boss in Armored Core 6? Honestly, been there. This was me just a few hours ago, out of ammo and out of options, punching a 10-ton rolling volcano in the hopes of doing any kind of damage. And spoiler alert, it didn't work. The Smart Cleaner fight can be a bit of a tricky fight early in Chapter 2, but like a lot of bosses in Armored Core 6, it's all about the build. Staying airborne and raining merry hell on the Smart Cleaner's weak spot is the aim of the game here. Because yes, it is an imposing enemy, but one with some glaring weak spots and terrible ranged options. The Smart Cleaner is essentially a giant bulldozer with massive grinders and a smokestack like a volcano on its back. It's large, aggressive, and incredibly tough, but thankfully its thick armour has some weak spots that you can exploit. Now, if you've ever played a video game before, you will have already spotted the weakness in the Smart Cleaner before the fight even begins. Everything that glows gold is a weak spot, and that's where you need to be focusing most of your fire. The opening in the front, the opening at the top of the chimney on its back, and even the grinders themselves are all worthy targets, but it's the opening in the chimney where you'll find the most stagger and damage. But it's also the hardest one to hit. The Smart Cleaner's primary offense comes from the grinders, meaning so long as you keep your distance, you're fairly safe. It does have ranged attacks like spitting molten metal out of its stack, but for the most part, it is massively ineffectual as long as you can stay above it. So with that in mind, our recommendation is to take to the skies and rain death from above. It can do almost nothing to you in the air, and one of the best ways to do damage is to fire missiles directly down into the chimney. It can do almost nothing to you in the air, and one of the best ways to do damage is to fire missiles directly down into the chimney, along with a healthy dose of Gatling gun fire. And what's the best way to do that? A ton of missile launchers, and a tetrapod build will work wonders for you here. I initially went into this fight with the Kazuha/42Z legs for quick jumps into the air, and a Gatling gun/machine gun dual wield for the primary weapons with missiles on the shoulders. But not only was it surprisingly difficult to maneuver myself above the Smart Cleaner consistently, and for long enough to land a decent number of shots, it was a fairly energy intensive build, so staying in the air was quite tricky. I also, annoyingly, kept running out of ammo. So here are the parts that we used in the end and that you'll want to equip if you're looking for the best mech for the Smart Cleaner fight in Armored Core 6. One with a much clearer focus on missiles, staying airborne, and getting the fight done quick. In your right arm, take the Gatling gun. For your left arm, take the DFBA-06 rocket launcher. For your right back, take the BML-G1 P20 MLT-04 missile launcher. And for your left back, same thing. For your head, the HC-2000 Finder Eye is a great choice. For your core, the CC-2000 Orbiter. For your arms, take the Nactria/46E. And for your legs, and this is very important, take the VP-424 Tetrapod. As for the rest of your bits, for your booster, take the BST G1/P10. For the FCS, take your FCS G2/P05. For your generator, take the VP20S. And for your expansion, the terminal armour is always a good choice. The tetrapod legs will allow you to float almost endlessly in the air, keeping you out of almost all danger from the Smart Cleaner and away from the massive damage of those arms. From there, you can just rain down shots with your rockets, missiles and Gatling gun. I kept hold of that since it makes such a huge difference in terms of stagger and damage dealt. Occasionally drop into a far corner to replenish your energy, and rinse and repeat until the Smart Cleaner bites the dust. And just like that, one of the trickier bosses in the game becomes an absolute breeze. Just more proof that in Armored Core 6, you're only as good as you build. So, if you're ready to move on to the more difficult fights, check out the rest of our guides for the other bosses in Armored Core 6, or check out this video, where we give you some tips on the best weapons and parts to get you started.